blastmusic247.com. We're changing the industry one artist at a time.
Life has a way of moving us sometimes gently, sometimes abruptly from one chapter to the next. And in those moments of transition, we're invited to reflect, to grow, and to embrace what's ahead with courage and clarity. Thank you for joining Moments with Myra. And on today's episode with Moments to Myra, I'm joined by a man who knows that journey firsthand, William Hayes Jr. With a story marked by resilience, reinvention, and a quiet strength, William opens up about what it really means to close one chapter and boldly step into another one. Whether you're navigating a personal crossroads or simply seeking inspiration for your next step, this conversation is for you. So let's settle in. This is more than an interview, it's a moment. Welcome, Billy Hayes. Oh, excuse me, William Hayes Jr. You know, I'm going to call you Billy. How
No,
are you?
yes, fine, fine, thank you. Spirit
Good.
out here, but hey, I'm gonna keep continuing to fight. So,
I
uh,
know that's right.
but yes, ma'am, glad to join you.
So, can you share a bit about the chapter you're closing and what it has meant to you so far?
The chapter that I'm closing is the chapter of just waking up to myself. Uh, I've been studying different stuff as it related to us as Black people since I was 2021. I mean, I got into a serious journey to find out about who we were. Uh, Upon that journey, I mean, I was gung ho. I mean, I studied in the dark where other people didn't see me, um, as well as, you know, shared and built with other people that were, that just trying to encourage friends and people around me of things, of new things, something that was different, things that were different, you know. But the real it switched up. I could say that I was probably more so on a religious journey, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it switched, and I thought I was into spirituality, but I really learned what that was, and that I had a stroke 3 years, almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in October. Uh, when I had that stroke, yeah, it kind of woke me up to a lot of things around me. Uh, and I had put so much energy into a lot of people that were around in my life. Um, and I found at that moment of my life, I had to really grasp hold of who I was, uh, embrace myself, because sometimes you don't know when things gonna happen, how they're gonna happen, but you got to snuggle up to the Most High and snuggle up to yourself and have that trust that you know you're gonna be there, and the Most High is gonna always be there for you. And in that journey, like I said, I studied a lot of stuff, and what I found that I studied all of these different people, but it ended up circling back around to me.
Mm-hmm.
You find yourself, like, you start really putting that energy towards yourself when you really have the time. And a lot of people, some people may say, when you isolate, something may be wrong. Well, no, sometimes when you isolate, it's just you having to find yourself and cutting out the chatter on the outside of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
listening to those voices within self. Some can call it discernment or other things. But when I got a chance, really, not your friend on the side say, hey, man, this and that, and what they thought about it, but actually what it really meant to you from the inside out. And so I ran into that journey, and I call it a spiritual journey where I had to wake up to myself because I had shared myself so outwardly that I guess I forgot myself in the midst of it all.
Yeah.
And you go through a phase. Some may have heard of this, but you call it shadow work. You know,
Mhm.
and most people know what the yin and the yang, the black and the white, like Chinese symbol. That's the dark and light of yourself. That's like the God and the devil of yourself, and those are dualities of self, and you have to understand how to merge both energies together to make one solid energy. Uh,
You're talking about merging the energies together. When
mhm,
you try to do that, and doing shadow work is not for the faint of hearts, because a lot of stuff come up that about yourself, about people that you're close to. It gives you a whole different perspective.
sure
So
does.
what challenges do you feel has shaped you during this chapter? And did you feel lonely? I know when I was doing my shadow work on myself, there was bits and pieces of the moment, Billy, where I felt lonely because it was exposing parts of me that needed to be exposed. But in exposing myself, it also exposed parts of other people that
Yeah.
needed to be exposed. And so it was sometimes that I was lonely. So how have you, or how do you feel that those challenges have shaped you in your mindset where you are now?
Well, yes, you're very lonely because really at that point, you feel as though, and it's the truth, like it's about getting to know who you are, not what people project onto you, who they want you to be, or who you may even want to be for yourself. No, the true authentic self, your true authentic you. You know, oh, golly, I got lost for a second.
That's okay.
What and in that, the loneliness, like I said, being uh, uh in that space where it's just you and you're thinking, uh you start to hear things and see things, maybe. And listen, it's about being honest with yourself all the way around, the good,
Mhm.
the bad, the ugly. I know there are things that I've done that I was a contributor, to a lot of things that affected me. I was a contributor. I co-signed. I had to co-sign. So it's about you allowing things to happen. See, I realized that as I looked in the mirror as for that reflection, I realized, hey, I allowed this stuff. And so
Mhm.
at that point, before you realize that you're hurt and you're mad, some people say you got beef. No, no, you start to realize, oh, I allowed a lot of this to happen because I was unaware, right? I was unaware of what was going on, how I may have felt, how I may have felt people were using me in certain ways, and how I may have been using them in certain ways.
Mhm.
And so it's about being honest. I had to be extremely honest with myself, and it's lonely, and what I found out about that loneliness. I enjoy being with myself, and I enjoy listening to the voices within myself. Uh, Sometimes people just not going to understand that aspect, but it's not for everybody to understand because you are building a relationship with something that is higher than yourself. Okay?
Mhm.
And that higher than yourself exists within yourself. And so, if you allow it, and we have family, friends, other people that you know we enjoy in our lives. But at the end of the day, it's still about you. It's about your journey, and it's about finding out that you are the master of your destiny.
And
Uh,
you hit the nail on the head when you said at the end of the day, it all circles back around to you. And I think that it's important for people to realize that. And something else, honey, that resonated with me was when you said, I allowed that. You know, you're taking control. Like, yeah, what they did might have been jacked up. I might have been in a jacked up situation. But when I look at the whole picture and I'm being honest about it, I allowed everything to occur in the manner that it did. And it
Yeah,
takes a strong person and a lot of understanding of yourself to be able to admit that and to say it out loud. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things that we know within our head, but to say
yeah,
it out loud, because when you say it out loud, you're making it real. And sometimes even the realest people can't accept real, you know?
that's, that's right. That's right.
So
So it's, yes, ma'am. It's about being honest, and and who else should you be honest to? I mean, but yourself. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So who you fooling, like they say? Who are you fooling? You know what? I got, and in the midst of it all, I got tired of fooling myself with that. Like, I'm okay with myself. I was very quiet in school and things of that nature. And
Mhm.
throughout all my studies and journeys, I built a something within self where I can express myself at this point in my life. I'm talkative. I'll talk your head off. I'll run this tape out. You know what I mean? But anyway, you just have to be honest, and it's like nobody else is around, but it's you being honest with you so that you can get to the best of you. Uh,
Mhm.
like I said, you're the master of your destiny, and if you don't take control of it, then somebody else will drive you whichever way they want you to go for their purpose and their reasoning. So it's like the Flintstones. You got to stick your foot out the car and stop. Skirt. Uh,
So
uh,
if you could give this chapter of your life a title, what title would you give it?
uh, I'm winning.
I
I
like that.
give it. I'm winning because, and I just wanted to pass this on, and this is a realization that us being alive and here breathing, and we can see the next day, and we're able to see the next day. Is there's something in all of that that we don't really realize? Like, if we're here and we can see this and we in this realm, you're a winner.
Mhm.
And let me tell you why you're a winner. You're a winner because, hey, when those when your mother and your father, I don't know the circumstances, but when they came together that at that time and they created you, there were thousands of sperm racing to that egg. There were thousands, and there were some. No, it was only one that made it, and that's you and me. In that, in those situations, right? It was you and me that made it in those situations. That's why we. But there were thousands that did not make it to this realm. And so when you talk about your ancestors and the protection of your ancestors, you have those energies that are rooting for you that never got a chance to experience life.
Mhm.
It never got a chance to experience life. And so therefore, you won that race, right? So the most high put you in this life, give you this life for you to uh build yourself. Remember the things that you may have lost. Okay. I'm not gonna get too deep into that part. Okay. But it, we have to remember, and some of the things that we get into, some of the things that resonates with us, those are things that help us remember. Like, it takes people around in with like minds to help you remember certain things. Like, you can't pat truth, right? You can't pat either. We have borrowed words, right? These words are borrowed. They were said before by somebody else, in another time, in another place. But so therefore, we're using, being that we in this reality, we won, and we got the chance to continue to win. But we have to get all of this together, right? We have to get it all together so that we can do what's best for us, uh, to succeed, uh, in this space and time.
Now, you have said something powerful about our ancestors and honoring them. And I always use the notion of I appear to you as one, but there are 1,000 people behind us, you know? And I think that that's so important to remember in times when you are falling short. So you think in one way or another, or things aren't going as planned. And you know, you're wondering, how can I pick myself up? What do I need to do? What adjustments do I need to make? But I love the idea of knowing that even at our loneliest times and our darkest times, that we're never truly by ourselves because we have our ancestors behind us. Now,
Right.
one thing, honey, that I wanted to ask you is, do you feel like that you would have took this deep dive into, you know, spirituality and really trying to learn more about us as a Black people and yourself if you wouldn't have had your stroke? Or did your stroke make you become more wanting to go within after that happened?
Well, I was always on that journey. Before I knew what a journey was, I was on a journey. Like I said at the beginning, I started studying different stuff a long time ago, and um, the stroke. And what where I'm going there is that you have many different awakenings. Okay, you awaken to this, you awaken to that, but the ultimate awakening for me was just awakening up to myself. Okay.
Gotcha.
Uh, yeah, just waking up to myself, and the stroke was because at the time what meant so it was because I felt like I had put so much time and energy into so many other people, and
Mm-hmm.
I had that stroke. There was nobody there, and I'm not, you know, I'm not calling anybody out or anything like that because I'm good with where I'm at right now. And I don't you don't have to come search me out or anything like that. But I'm good. I'm good where I'm at right now, and because like I said, I enjoy me, and even if even if you know I, yeah, I mean, because my stroke was a life death situation, and it seemed like nobody cared.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where it really came down to. Is like I have other friends where they had been in situations, and you know, I was there for them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I did things for them. They were on my mind. I made my way to make sure that they had something. If I even felt that they didn't knew nothing about it, I made sure I supplied them with whatever. Right.
Whatever you could. Yeah.
So uh, I'm not, like I said, once I woke up to myself or had that awakening, it wouldn't, at that point, I wouldn't have said it them anymore, uh, uh, but I understood that, like they always say, everybody ain't meant to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like at that point it was letting me know who was meant to go with me on my ultimate journey, in life, whether I went to the convenience store and played a lottery ticket and won $1 billion, and who would be the person in who I would help in
Mm-hmm.
those times, right? And because coming from where I come from, I just didn't have a real, you know, I I didn't want to feel like I was better, and if I was a little more fortunate than someone else, I always made sure anybody around me was straight. Like
Mm-hmm.
like whether it was I had a car at 16, so I didn't have to catch rides with other people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they could hop right in my car and ride, and I didn't mind it. Yes,
You
ma'am.
just like to make sure that everybody feels seen and valedated, and that the playing field is leveled for everybody.
Yeah,
Just you were able to have certain things growing up and able to, um, like you said, have a car at 16 and, things that other people might not been able to have. You don't take that for granted and you still want to pay it forward, basically. But
Yes.
sometimes when we have things that happen in our life, such as illnesses or loss of job, loss of, whatever, those are the times when you really, really see who your people are.
Yeah.
Because when you up, everybody's your people. You
Right.
ain't got to worry about nothing. Phone ringing off the hook. Everybody's reaching out, want to hang out with you, whatever. But when something happens, being an illness, losing your job, whatever the case may be, in your downtimes is really, really when you see who's truly got you. And so that's the reason why I think that it's important for all of us to have those moments in our downtimes where we do self evaluation, because it's okay that the same people that you had at age 16 you're not going to have at age 50.
Yeah.
You got to be okay with that. So now, how do you prepare yourself mentally, spiritually for what's ahead, for like the next steps, the next chapter? How do you make sure that you're grounded enough and prepared?
Um, you know, I keep the Most High. I'm always conscious. Let's put it that way. I think like consciousness is prayer. When you go to pray, you're letting the Most High know that you're conscious, right?
Hmm.
So if you always thinking, I used to say, I walk and pray. That means my eyes may be open, but the Most High is always. I'm always conscious of the Most High. It's
Yeah.
like I don't put that to the side. Like there's so many other things. I mean, I could have put myself in so many places that for the public to see would be so beneficial, and I would have people hanging off of me. But I chose it was like this, Myra. I felt like I didn't even want to learn anything else, right? I just wanted to learn the stuff that I was researching to help build myself ultimately. So if it was me get this job and I gotta put that stuff to the side to learn what I need to do on the job, nah, I
Mhm.
don't want the job. I'm gonna learn this stuff over here, you know. And I was being selfish like that about myself, you know, and like it's I'm grateful for what I have, and and I think we all should be grateful of life and some of the things that you know, some of these other things out here are not even. I mean, they're just not. Um, they're not really beneficial. Let's say things. I'm gonna just put that things. Okay, I like nice things. Okay, but I'm not gonna rob, steal, or kill, or do anybody dirty to get those things. I'm just not gonna do it. So, not to say I've done my things, but I made it. I made it past that way of thinking. And I like to say that when you on a journey, you're never at the end. You never you. There's still things I know I got to work on. I get hyped. I get hyped about truth. I'm very passionate, right? I told my kids and my wife I gotta calm myself down. That's something that I have to work on, right? I'm not done. I have to work on that. I don't know what stimulus is going to come my way and it's going to test that, like to see, okay, are you going to hold it together or are
Mhm.
you going to, right? That's still there. I done had a stroke. I had a hip replacement 8 months after that. It was like I felt like friends thought I was broke. You know,
Mhm.
you know, you know, it's like I'm broken. I'm like hanging on. But you know what? I feel better than ever right now. I'm walking. I had to teach myself how to walk again. All of that. Mine was a little different because I had a stroke where it hit that left side of the body and it affected an old football injury,
Mhm.
and I couldn't walk for a whole year. Uh,
Wow.
I mean, barely. Yeah, I was getting mad at people riding the little carts at Walmart. Yeah, I know you don't need that cart. You see me with this, but anyway, you know, I was like the handicap police. Oh, you ain't got no handicap sticker. Hey, so those kind of things I got to work on. It's beyond my power. I can't tell other people what to do. So what I got to do is maintain self, elevate myself. Right. I got to
Mhm.
do it myself. I got to use discernment. I got to do all of the things that's necessary for me to elevate. Right. And
Mhm.
if somebody is in with that for me, right, then I'm gonna give them that same kind of energy back, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna give them that same energy right back. Yes,
If
ma'am.
you fast forward 5 years, what do you hope this next chapter says about you?
That I'm about the truth. Uh, and truth, when you say truth, the truth is only tagged on you. Really, I mean, when you say truth, like our truths can align. But
Hmm.
your truth is your truth, and mine is mine, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Uh, so things that are on the wavelength of truth, then I like to think that in 5 years that I'm doing things to set myself up to, and I'm not no spring kitten. So, but Myra, in that Myra, you have to understand I had a stroke and I was disabled behind my stroke, where I actually get a little money for being disabled, and I had to resign from my job, which I was working for the state of North Carolina for 13 years, 13 and a half years. One of those years I couldn't even work because I was on short-term disability.
Hmm.
So so I had to resign. I had to throw all of that in, and now it's like they gave me 5 years on disability, and they'll reevaluate my situation, and I'm like, okay, so I got some time, right? I had to have that take that time just to sit back and heal, right? I didn't need no pressure of working. I didn't need none of that. I needed to sit back. If only place I could go was around through my house, then that's the only place I was gonna go. But it was giving me a chance to heal some of the things about myself, about my personal situation, about my family. Um, it was giving me a chance to do that. And so in 5 years, I plan to start my own uh, business or something. At this point, I don't feel like putting that kind of energy into somebody's heaven.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, you can call it what you want to, but I just don't feel like doing it. We sometimes could get desperate because bills gonna keep coming. But
Hmm.
you know what? No lies. I haven't had everything. The Most High has provided everything just on time, and I hadn't had to beat myself up to do anything with the look. And I could survive off of what I have. I can take care of. I've taken care of my family, my kids, and and I think it's because of my faith. I know it's because I ain't thinking. I know it. It's because of my faith, um, and believing in self, never giving up, never quitting. That attitude. Um, I got a very determined attitude. I'm gonna get up off my feet. Like I, I go. I was going to the gym every single day, working myself up, saying, "Doggone." I got a kind of war mentality. Like I don't never know when nothing gonna happen, so I want to be prepared for anything. So I
Exactly.
want to be up on my feet, you know. Also with food and health and things of that nature, I want to move. I want to move into a more healthier. I'm very conscious of what I eat, but move into a healthier. Even maybe become a fruitarian, you
Mhm.
know, and start just eating fruit. And I just finished making a walnut tea that I just got off some trees around my house and brewed them with some onions and honey and some thyme and some other things to clear
Mhm.
my system out, you know, to get on to put myself on that right road. And so, you know, I want, I aspire to do things like that and aspire to help and educate other people. Like I've been, like this is something that I've been doing for a long time. I just don't get paid for it, right? I've been
Yes.
teaching people for a long time, a very long time, and I don't say money in that sense. Like I want to get paid for it, but I'm gonna figure out a way to make it beneficial for me and my family to be able to educate people as well as get something out of it as well. Whether coaching or
Um,
things of that nature, just like you do, I don't know, but I'm leaving it open.
And
Okay.
I was going to say, I feel like that as long as you continue to do things and do the things that you're doing from a good place, then God is going to spin the block and everything will fall into place for you to be able to do exactly what you're doing, exactly what you love, and be able to make a living for your family off of that. I believe that with everything that's in me. If you could sum up the word transition in one sentence, what would it be? How has this transition and shift during this time of your life made you better than you were before?
Uh, Transition is because I felt like if some of those things didn't happen to me, I felt like if something big would have happened to me, then I would have got taken to the bank. Uh, I felt like I would have got taken to the bank, so I felt like it was timely for all of this to happen. Let me tell you how the spirit works. Can I tell you how the spirit works real quick?
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I work for me. I left Winston-Salem State. This is 3 years ago, right before I had my stroke. I left Winston-Salem State. I was working facilities at Winston-Salem State. Uh, so I left. I didn't feel like I was being done right. And I left and I got a job at North Carolina A&T, in which I stayed in Greensboro. Now I get this job at A&T. They gave me a supervisor position. They give me the job. I'm saying, okay, all right, at least they gonna give me a chance to move up. Okay. I said, all right. So I go, I'm there. And then the guy says, my supervisor tells me, say, hey, you're gonna have to work on homecoming. I said, what? Listen, check this out now. I say, I didn't know this, right? They didn't tell me this. So I'm like, oh man, my body went into panic mode. Okay. Right before a week before homecoming, I was calling people, trying to get other jobs. I was trying to do everything to get out of this. Now, a week before homecoming, I had that stroke.
Mm,
See, the Most High took me out of that situation.
hmm.
He took me out, and then as he took me out, he put me on some other things that I needed to work on.
Mm,
See, he
hmm.
took me totally out. And they say, what don't kill you will make you stronger, right? He knew that the stroke ain't gonna kill me. He knew that a hip replacement, and a lot of people get hip replacements, but I had a stroke that messed up this side of my. Matter of fact, when I went to the hospital when I had the stroke, they told me they don't know how I walked in there because where the stroke hit me in my brain, I was supposed to have been paralyzed.
Wow.
So, hey, keep powering forward. Uh, but anyway, with that in mind, I said, oh man, you know, so therefore I had to at that time invest more time into uh, uh, just myself and listening to myself, using that discernment. Stop these red flags that was up for years. Some
Hmm.
people who I feel like should have been there. Oh, red flags was on them for years. It was the fact that I was canceling the red flag out and said, nah, it ain't that. It's not that. No, they wouldn't do me like that, you know. But because I didn't listen, the Most High put me in another situation and made it plain for me to see, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
and like I said, I, and I feel like this: if I hung around anybody or anything like that, man, I loved you. Simple as that. I had love for you, but at some point you have to say, okay, what am I gonna do for myself, right? So it's like,
Exactly.
you got to be stingy about you. Once you really figure it out, you got to be stingy about you. So I'm gonna be stingy about me, and those who understand that, then we can continue to build. And I like to think that if there are almost 8 billion people in the world, and I am mad over 20, 30 people, right? Then I'm shorting myself out. There's so many possibilities, is what I'm saying, to meet
Yeah.
people that align with your journey, right? So don't be mad at them. Keep moving.
Keep moving.
Don't be mad at them. Keep moving. When they see you, they know what they lost because they knew what they had in the first place.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. You're absolutely right. And I really, really think that that's a good place for us to start wrapping up our conversation, because keep moving. Perfect. Also, too, stop ignoring them red flags. We've been seeing the red flags for years. Flags on the field, flags on the play, however you want to say it, them red flags, and we giving them passes. Stop
That's right.
giving those half-ass people in your life them passes,
That's right.
because you really, really need them to show up. They're not going to be there. So make sure that you are treating people exactly how they show you they are the first time,
That's
and
right.
not giving them passes. I'm so thankful for this time that we share. We've been friends for ever and a day.
Yes,
And, I know your story, and I know, your health history and stuff. And for you to be able to be here today and share your time with me, I'm so appreciative of it. I really, really am.
thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
I thank you for allowing me to come on and share my story, a piece of my story. Uh, but I'm so honored for that. I feel acknowledged by that. So I'm very grateful and filled with gratitude.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, just like that, another moment shared, real, raw, and full of purpose. A huge thank you to William Hayes Jr. I call my Billy, for reminding us what every ending carries a sense of loss, but holds the power of a new beginning. Closing one chapter doesn't mean the story is over. It means there's more to be written, more to become, and more to embrace. If today's conversation resonated with you, I hope you carry it into your own season of change with grace and confidence, because when one door closes, another one really does open, and what's on the other side might just surprise you. Until next time, I'm Myra. This has been Moments with Myra. Take care and keep turning the page.
Thank you.
Is it too late to say that I'm sorry? Or have we reached the point of no return? Say what's on your mind. I don't wanna turn a blind eye to all the things that we've done to reach this point, into an empty void, facing repercussions from the words of our choices. I'm just trying to find a reason we should stay. Be ashamed to throw it all away. I'm not giving up so easy. I still want you, need you, here with me in the middle of the night when you touch me so gently. If you're trusting, willing to learn me after After all the times I tried pushing away, girl, I still see a light here with you, Myra. I'm still willing to admit my flaws, show you that I'm worth the cost, give you everything you need, prepared to catch you when you fall. You got me pleading on my knees, oh baby, don't leave me. You got me pleading on my knees, oh baby, cause I still want you, need you, here with me in the middle of the night when you touch me so gently. If you're trusting, willing to learn me, after all the times I tried pushing away,